As you can see on the screen, I just do have to do like some switches so it looks like it's actually like not a mirror image and doesn't confuse people and shit like that. That always happens a lot.
So we look that way then?
You don't have to. It's just me and you. We're having a conversation.
All right.
They can chime in if they want to and stuff, but it's us. I'm learning about you.
All right.
Whoa! What is up, everybody? MuseMe TV. I was supposed to fucking turn that down, not turn it off. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We are back. Episode 158. Right? What the fuck? That's like a lot of episodes. How the fuck are you not working right now? I hate everything. Oh, there you are. I was like, where the fuck is my studio audience? They're like not even here, right? You guys are just so disappointed in me right now. Don't worry, I love you guys too. We are back though, episode 158, MuseMe TV. We actually, gosh, shut up, you guys suck. Give me an awesome intro. This is my friend who I barely know, Emily. What is up, Emily?
What's up? What's up?
Nothing much. We are here, MuseMe TV. I invited you over because I was like, hey, we should do a podcast. And you were just like, yeah, let's do one. And we're here. We're here. We're here to talk, chat. I know you from the comedy scene, which is pretty small, but still fun to do.
Yeah.
Are you a comedian from a long time ago? Have you been here before? Because I'm still kind of new in this area. I started like maybe a year ago, and then the pandemic hit, so I technically only started like four days ago.
Oh, dang.
But yeah, so
wait, what happened 4 days ago?
The pandemic hit, and now they're barely starting to let things open. So
you did something 4 days ago?
Well,
like alive
at the Wheeler's place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they're it's finally starting to open up and stuff, and now we can do more comedy. But when I started comedy, I'm barely in the scene, so I still barely am starting to meet people and stuff. Like, do you know who Royal is?
Royal, I don't know.
Like, you're new to this scene, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, see that I maybe you were like, because I've met people that have like they're when I came to the scene they weren't here, and then like 3 months later they're like, hey, my name's Justin, and I was like, hey, what's up? You're new to the scene. And they're like, no, I've been here before, but I just went to Denver for like a year and a half. So
yeah,
I thought that might have been the case with you too. Like, you were here for a while, but then you took off, and then you're like, hey, I'm back, bitches.
Well, I just did an open mic one night at Red Velvet, and just totally connected, like everybody was so fun and chill and like loving. I mean, I was like, okay, these people here got something going on. So I just kept showing up,
Yeah.
And that's just really like the story.
And that's how you became the comedian you are now.
Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. I was traveling the country and kind of popping and doing open mics every once in a while. And it was always improv. I was never planning anything. I was just going up there and speaking. And so from there, that's just my journey led me to Albuquerque. And Albuquerque, is where I am right now. And I've been hanging out with you guys. And
so I did see on your Facebook, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Jesus. How long up there in Oklahoma?
It's a harsh land, that Oklahoma there. For a lesbian, that is not a place that's super easy to be. I'm telling you what. But anyway, no, I was there. I was a social worker in the mental health field. I was a mental health educator and a case manager. So I basically was educating people about mental health. And then I was a supplemental thing to therapy. So I was like, they would get a therapist and then they would also get me. And so I wasn't like telling them like about I wasn't like processing their emotions. I was educating them about like, here's, something that's healthy, like this is what maybe a goal is and stuff, and helping people like achieve their goals. And so from there, then I started into case management, and I help people get housing, and I help people get food and, clothes on their bodies and everything like that.
Okay.
So I did that for 10 years there. And then the system started fighting me, and I had to flee as a refugee from the state, actually.
Oh, Jesus.
And that was, I sold my house. And all my, like, most of my stuff went minimalistic in 20 days and fled the state as a medical refugee, and headed to Colorado. So Colorado was an interesting journey there too.
Around what year did this, like, so you were in Oklahoma, all this goes down, and then you go to Denver, or you go to Colorado.
Yeah.
Was this in, like, what, the 2000s?
So April 1st, 2019 is when I sold all my stuff.
Oh, okay. So it's not that long ago.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think, in my eyes, like, that's not a big, long time span. If I was like, holy shit, you did that 10 years ago? Holy fuck. So what happened in Denver for the past 10 years and stuff like that? But you were in Oklahoma for a really long time, and then you just recently were like, fuck it, I'm going to Denver. Which is 2 years, but is not that recent, but still.
Yeah. And I ended up actually in Colorado Springs.
Okay.
I visited Denver. I mean, and I did an open mic there, Denver proper, but they were a little too proper, I think.
So you actually did comedy before you did comedy here?
Yeah.
Okay. See.
I mean, if you want to call it that, like, I don't know, hopping on a stage and just speaking out loud, like,
that's a lot. you would imagine, because there's a lot of people that don't have that. Like, they just can't get up there and do that. There's a guy that, well, he doesn't, I haven't seen him in a while, but he used to come to the comedy nights all the time. He's like, I'm gonna get up there, but he never did.
Aww.
For the longest time, and I'm still waiting for him to do it. But
well, that's what I love about you guys. Your environment, like, that you have created, is so loving that it does give you this safe spot to try, and stretch and try new things.
Well, I think anybody should have that opportunity to try to say something or anything that they want to say. But that's unfortunate with what's going on with cancel culture and stuff like that right now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't make fun of myself if I wanted to say, like, oh, gay, homosexual, blah, blah, blah. I can't make fun of that because it's offensive and very bad. Which, again, I get it, but in the context of a joke or humor, that's a whole different subject.
It's fascism.
It's sad.
Let's be real.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. I mean, we're all getting microchips here soon, so I don't know if you're ready for that.
Well, I've actually started a movement against it. Unite to Thrive.
Okay, well, tell us more about this.
So I look around, I don't see solutions.
Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, hey. I don't see solutions in Albuquerque, and I see car thefts on the rise. I see just, like, brutal muggings on the rise, and I see a lot of horrible stuff on the rise. And unfortunately, I'm also seeing into the politics of it and the schemes of the politics of what's going on. So you got New Mexico. It's been the most shut down the whole time. Like, if pretty much anywhere in the country that I've traveled to. I went to Arizona, and it was like psychologically, complete clusterfuck all of a sudden in my brain, because they weren't Nazis on the mask. They weren't, all the, like, seriousness and all that stuff of, like, the pandemic scheming. And it was, like, psychologically different. And I felt myself, like, assimilating to, like, oh my God, but, like, I should, but, like, and it was like this weird thing. But anyway, so, like, just even the psychology of what's happened with COVID alone, you can look at that. But people are broken. People are kind of dead now, and they need a rebirth, and we need to rebirth this city. And what we need to do is breathe a bunch of sharing and a bunch of volunteerism, a bunch of bartering, bringing life of the arts, bringing stories as to why we need to unite, and we need to band together, literally. And so that's what Unite to Thrive is about, is that we're not asked before 5G towers get put right beside, your bedroom window, zapping you with EMFs,
Yeah.
You didn't get to consent to that, did you?
To a sense, no, but the way that technology has changed and the way that we want that rapidness of like being convenient and stuff like that, we kind of just sign towards it.
Yeah.
Like again,
Yeah.
we probably don't know that we signed a clause in an agreement that says that, but we probably did.
We probably did.
And there's no
Probably did. On this box right here for this iPhone, it's like it says something like a certain distance you should stay away from the device. But I'm gotta hold it to use it, right? But I am consenting to that. I am, dude.
I want it on me, like
Okay, but nonetheless, I'm not saying it's good. So we just got to look at like what is the reality of what is going on, because if our jobs are being slashed and we're all shut down and there's no solutions getting presented as to picking up the slack. We already had, such a horrible issue of poverty in Albuquerque, in New Mexico, and
it's getting worse.
It's getting worse because there's no supplemental wages, there's no supplemental jobs, there's no supplemental income coming in. The thing was, okay, get in this unemployment insurance, the COVID, that assistance. Well, I ended up, a guy that I work with is like, oh girl, I got on that and I got all my friends on that. And then we all got overpayments. No matter what we did, no matter what we sent them, no matter what we did, we got overpayments. And now I owe like $7,000.
Okay.
So then he gave me that warning, right? Well, I then battled like nobody's business. I want to prove exactly that I'm being honest about this, that I don't have work, that I show up and there's no jobs at my company, and that I'm going to present all of my documentation and I'm going to be as in the clear about this as possible because I had the foresight. Didn't matter. Overpayment, here I come. Yeah. So if that's the solution to the lost wages of Albuquerque, of New Mexico, wherever, I'm saying there's not jack shit going on that's actually helping us. And it is time that we band together and we stop the madness, because it's not money that is fueling jack shit around here. It is what people have. We got to clothe these bodies. We got to feed people. We got to put housing together, and we have to take our power back. We got to get our freaking consent, our sovereignty, because a lot is going on behind the scenes and all kinds of stuff you can tell that's not leading us to prosperity. It is not leading us to having everybody provided for. It's leading to further crisis mode. And if you know the neurology of a human being, we've got two pathways, right? We've got fight or flight, okay, where you are not healing in fight or flight. You are literally just surviving, and a lot of your systems shut down, including digestion. Like, you are not even optimal in that mode in your neural pathway. Okay. If you're in crisis mode, if you don't have housing, if you don't have the things you need, if you are watching your kids and they have holes in their shoes and they, this, that, and the other, and times infinity here, go down the line of how people are struggling right now. You can't just look to drugs to say that's the whole issue here. People's jobs are at stake. They're lost wages, and there's nothing going in to replace it. It's like earnest.
The problem has always, in my eyes, that I've heard, that I've seen, it's always been a poverty-stricken area.
Yeah, and it's intentional, dude.
Well, it's not that it's intentional. It's that there's no incentive to improve it or actually make it a more safe haven for somebody to grow up in, because this is unfortunate with this scenario, but I come from a shithole. I know the aspects of living in the ghetto of a war zone where there's just fucking gangsters all the time and bullshit like that.
Yeah.
But I overcame it.
Yeah.
I did my best. And that's not to say not everybody can do that, but a lot of people should be trying more. Than just actually going with the stigma of, hey, guess what? I live in a impoverished place. I guess I'm going to have to start doing what they do, instead of I should be the outlier and actually try to help my fellow neighbor and help this person in this sense, in that sense, but it's not happening.
So we just need to organize a huge opportunity for people to plug in like that. Here's an example. We got somebody that's a hoarder and they're struggling. They don't know where to start. Every moment that they're in their home, they feel chaos, and so, but they're ready to let go. Okay, then they ask for help. Well, okay, here comes volunteers who help this person organize all of their stuff, you know, into categories and stuff that they can see like where they're at. And then they can choose like, okay, well, I'm going to let go of this, and this, and I'm going to just keep this. But that all that stuff can easily like go to somebody that needs all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like we just have to streamline that process, I feel like. And that kind of mentality of like helping our neighbor is going to benefit other people, you know, in that kind of like catalytic situation of a positive snowball rolling down a hill, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a little bit harder, especially the way times are now. I mean, again, we're just kind of talking about this a little bit. Cancel culture is so bad that even if I did go try to help, they'll just be like, why are you helping this impoverished person instead of this other impoverished person? Or like people in this genre are getting a lot more flack than the people that you're helping in this genre. Like there's no middle ground to anything that you do if you're trying to help others or not. Like that's the horrible part of being a helpful person. Like I'm helping these people. Oh, well, don't you have enough time and resources to go help them? Like you're already telling me to do more of what I should do because you think that I should be this community guidelines person where I'm just giving it out to everybody, but it's hard. It's really hard. And nobody can really play that role of being able to do all of these things to make everybody happy. Because no matter what we do, how it's done, somebody's going to be dissatisfied with what we did.
But we got to look at like right now, if we just do anything towards solutions, we're doing more than what's happening right now. So you can't really get stuck in like what could go wrong. I'm focused on we gotta actually plug things in that are gonna work and improve that and demonstrate in video and help people, you know, shed some happy tears in their life and see people, you know, coming together and saying we're not going to war, we stand for peace, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure our neighbors have not just, you know, a little bit of crumbs here and there, but that they're provided for, you know, because we're in just wild times, even where the earth is even, you know, shaking and moving differently potentially. So, you know, I study the precession of the equinoxes, and you know, my personal belief is that we've shifted to the age of Aquarius.
Not yet, though, right? It's
oh no, I believe that we're going way up in that.
Depending on how you see the astrological thing and stuff like that. But some people say it's in that realm of going there, and it's still we're in the age of Pisces or whatever. But okay,
no matter what, we're transitioning.
Okay, but in that sense, then
rapidly.
What do you think? This age of Aquarius would bring shedding light to the people.
Exactly. So this is the age of truth and light and transparency. You know, it's basically, you know, we got to get one with the one. We got to pull everybody together through the heart, and we've got the earth on a timeline, and then we're just inhabitants of the earth, you know, and we've been killing the earth for a long time. And every 2,150 to 60 years, roughly, which, you know, is just, you can't really count by years. It's all the planetary alignments. Yeah. And we've just had the great conjunction that happened on December 21st, 2021 or 2020. And then right now we just hit the equinox. And what happens with that is like a flushing. So the spring equinox, so Aquarius is he who brings spring rains. So I've had 10 to 12 different locations in my presence. Literally the sewer plumbing stuff in Albuquerque has backed up. I just came from a hotel where I took a shower and I took a bath. And this is times like I keep telling people, and I tell people everywhere I go, oh my God, this just happened. And then it's like, oh, another tally that this just happened. And I'm telling people we're headed for a monsoon, you know, or something. We're headed for flooding in Albuquerque. So you got an already stressed population, and you get some type of natural disaster going on, which I'm just telling you what's happening. Yeah. You know, I'm not trying to tell people how to live their life or what to do or anything like that. I'm just saying that's a lot of times, dude. So, and it's not, you know, going to be the first time it ever happened in Albuquerque. So, you know, but as we know, the irrigation systems and all that shit is like really not great here.
Yeah, and it's actually been in a droutish season for quite a while and stuff too. So the rains would help a lot, and that was
so they're destined to come. So it's not a matter of if, it's when.
Okay,
and then it's
the fact that you said destined to come though is a little bit troubling to me, because there's been so many things that us as human beings have fucked up the environment, so it's not happening the way the Earth's precession of the actual time of how it's supposed to do its things.
Hello, chemtrails.
Dude, there should be hundreds of glaciers right in front of us, like milestones of them. Like, we shouldn't have this build structure of what we have on the Earth right now. Like, we pretty much made the land what the land is.
Yep.
And is that a negative thing or a positive thing?
Look at Moana. It's like the heart of Tafiki got taken from the Mother Earth island, you know? And so it was like raging in volcanicness, right? And that's what I see. And you look at Albuquerque's on two different tectonic plate fault lines. So what's going to happen is an upcycling of the energies of the planet is going to raise the vibration. And what does that mean? Atoms are going to go faster. So what is that? Well, hello, you're just going to get a lot of catastrophe, but you could prep, you could be ready. And in working together you got the Earth on a timeline, and you got the humans doing their little mini ants going against one colony business with, you know, the monetary system and all that, you know, nasty business. We just say enough is enough, and we form a cooperative, and we do this damn thing. Because if you look, there's multiple historical populations that have transcended things that have wiped out a mass population. Okay.
To be honest though, I personally only see that happening with a mass extinction.
See, and that is okay. And I accept that challenge, because what I'm doing is
trying to prevent that.
I'm just doing what one person can do times I'm getting another person, and then we're going to put something together, and we're going to go at it. And what happens will happen, you know? And, you know, what I'm telling you, though, is like, I get foresight, and it actually goes down. I was in Oklahoma, and I told people, dude, the universe is telling me some flooding's coming. And I can understand, dude, you sound like a mental patient when you talk like that.
Everybody does. Who doesn't say that they don't have these kind of like natural abilities to understand like different
Exactly. We all do. And that is what is the moral of the story.
But unfortunately, though, we will never know the perspective of how or what you're truly thinking. Okay?
I know.
This is the beautiful thing that I love about technology that hopefully is going to come from it. Right now, you might have these premonitions, these foresights, these amazing visions that probably torment you.
They do.
They probably make you feel like, oh my God, the most spiritual, crazy, any spectrum
underachieving.
Any spectrum of healing, any spectrum at all, you feel that. But unfortunately, though, millions of people out there will never understand what you're saying.
I know. Well.
Right now, what's happening, though, is, again, technology is getting so good that this might be something you disagree with, but a computer chip in your head to feel feelings. I know that's funny, right? But
it's sick.
I would never know how you feel unless we can connect like that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's a time. It's an interesting time, because we're going to have such an emergence of such technology. So we go from a dark age to a golden age with the age of Aquarius shifts. What does that mean? You know, it means that we've been stifled. Advancement has been stifled for 2,100 and however many years, because the Earth goes through these cycles. So with the age of Aquarius shift, what you'll see is like a renaissance, you know, and you'll see, and that's what I'm hoping that this movement becomes, is more of just a revival of the soul. Like, hey guys, come on, we got some cool technology on the way or whatever, but hey, let's bring it back to what is a human being, you know, and what do we need?
Go ahead. What is the definition of a human being, though, at that point? Because there's so many theories and different...
I know.
We don't even know what we are in general. We have these ideas that maybe we were descendant from apes.
Right. Come on. Yeah. Yeah.
But there's the idea that as well that we could actually have been put on this planet from another being, like alien beings. I don't want to go into this crazy fucking alien shit, but it's out there, and there's so much knowledge that you can't refute it at all.
I know, right? Well, it goes. I feel like everybody has to go within.
There's a lot of Native American cultures that don't believe they were put on here from. They weren't like Mother Earth's people. They were brought here by like turtles and different other spiritual people stuff too. So what is a human in that sense? Then?
Yeah. Well, okay. No matter what, let's just say, like, we got a heart, and we got to start pulling from that as our source. Rather than the ego. And if we all do that, and if we all like let go, and if we all forgive, and if we all kind of do these things that do seem cliche and are put in these, spiritual texts and used kind of sometimes to condemn more than help, and, judge more than guide, but once we stop doing that and we transcend like our own traumas, and we purge those, and we kind of get one with like the essence of who we were born to be, the manifest that is the creation energy, however you want to label that, and so if your energy raises a vibration, of others, then you're in alignment. If your energy takes away from the vibration, you're not. And it's then a matter of, you need to look within, and you need to take that self-inventory, and you need to ask your community, if you're having a blind spot that you're struggling with, like, you need to confront all that you are. You can't avoid this process. You have to completely be you, and you have to love you, and then you have to radiate that unconditional self-love outward, And once everybody ends the inner war, there will be no outer war. That really will, there is no way that cannot be at that point.
I guess I can see it in that sense, like just understanding yourself more as a person to just know the difference between anything. Like that's kind of why we have people that study mass serial killers, because they don't know the aspect of why people feel that way. But that's one of those things, is like that the human brain is so unique in a way that nobody has the same exact mindset. And
right, how do you unify if everybody's so different?
But that's the thing, though. What if unifying people together is the fact that we're all different? You can't be the same in the sense of,
we're all individuals, but
in a sense where like I don't know. See, because the way that you talk about like vibrations and the way everything should be aligned in some kind of spiritual sense, or some kind of like tonal, everybody should be the same in like a feeling themselves in a kind of way and stuff.
Yeah, it's all individualistic to their bliss, but yeah, it's all about following their own path and being okay with that.
How does that
the community guiding and being okay with that,
does that really in a sense have to be, I guess, trying to better everyone else in a sense too? Because like, okay, do you feel like you are in a kind of pretty good state right now? Like you have some of your things together, you feel like you can go and be more happy with the things that you're doing in life and making more purpose in it? Or is it the fact that you have to help other people to achieve the purposes that you're trying to fulfill as well? Like, I'm not happy unless people know that I'm happy, because I'm making them feel happy as well too.
Service to others is everything. Spreading the love. So you gotta heal thyself and spread the light, basically. That's what I'm seeing too. Yeah, it's more of an and, it's instead of an or. If you can just open and expand your mind to like, oh, infinity. Okay, so what is infinity in reality? And then if you get into Carlos Castaneda, he has a book called The Active Side of Infinity. That's what I see that we're in, is like this process of everybody toiling through their whole lineage of things to heal and stuff, but also like this lifetime, like all these like, little traumas and big things that add up and whatever it is, but just purging out and doing like a jubilee internally, basically like a massive cleanse of the soul, and like I said, it's the equinox now, so it's a great time, and we're coming into a super moon this month. So if you believe in things like that,
Too spiritual for me at this point. Oh man. Okay, I don't condemn it, it's just that I don't know it. And another thing is too that there's so much of a broad spectrum of what's out there. Like, is it really that some of our feelings get aligned with stars? Is it really that we have to portray ourselves as an image of what goes on out there from a different time of mythology? Like, again, is the age of Aquarius really going to be this washing of springs or the movement of things? Because the age of Aquarius, or that figure Aquarius, is only represented in pretty much one sense of religious texts, like the Greek mythology, Romans as well, but
Egyptian tarot has the figure too.
but he's in a different sense, right? He's not Aquarius. What is his name?
That's why you got to look at the one. You can't. These people are all doing their own thing, labeling. It's all a matter of labeling now.
So at that sense, though, is it not that the fact that we just are kind of piggybacking off of each other's ideas of stuff that we still don't know? Like, again, in what, 500 years, is that same depiction of Aquarius going to be different to like the god of Elon or something?
Of course, I understand what you're saying. And the best thing that I feel like you just said is I don't know. And if you're just have an open beginner's mindset in every moment and cue into the now and the reality of the now, then that's going to be like your best friend, you know?
But it's hard with...
No matter what, critical thinking skills are everything, dude.
But it's so hard with so much of science being brought to you. Like,
but that's why you got to go within. It is not, you're not going to get these answers outside. Like, you got to literally like,
well, you kind of can. I mean,
you can,
when they start explaining like quantum theory and stuff like that,
right?
Does that not blow you away just to think that in our same representation, there's infinite amount of scenarios that are going on at this exact same time?
You just can't get overwhelmed. I feel like that's kind of what you're saying, right? Is you get tossed up in having too much information sometimes, and then you're like, but what's what?
Yeah, because if you have, well, I'm glad that we have all of this information and being able to think of all these critical things, because if we didn't, there's so many people out there that don't believe that there's going to be an age of Aquarius. There's hundreds of millions of people that don't believe that there is actually enlightenment from their celestial stars and stuff like that. They honestly just believe in like more of like even a spiritual sense of just being guided by Jesus Christ or something. You know, there's so many aspects of how that works and whatever. But the thing that blows me away is that, again, we kind of label these things in the sense like, I'm a spiritual person in the fact that I'm going to the age of Aquarius, but yet Evan Millett in the Mormon side will never believe any of that at all. And who's right at that point?
And this is where what I want to do is have what we're doing is pulling together to have a literal like unity conversation.
Yeah.
You know, like where you meet at, you know, regularly and come together and say, what is it all inclusive understanding of life? You know, that it includes everyone, that isn't taking away from energies of people, that is raising everyone up. And that is, you know, basically of the heart, you know. I think that's, but really it's just a time like a Gandhian type of time, you know. I feel like that was a blip to the age of Aquarius, and you had, you know, songs like the age of Aquarius coming out during that kind of time and stuff like that. It was like Woodstock, you know, because at that time they were on the brink, you know, that was like a bunch of wartime scenarios and stuff like that. Well, when you look at Revelations, you got the 4 horsemen, war, disease, famine, death, that it says will happen during this changeover time. And you've got like, so, you know, and I know that what you're kind of hinting at is you don't want to push any doctrine on anybody. But what I want to do is to pull in so many different perspectives that it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's what that is. Or it just doesn't even matter what you label it. It's just come together for the one of the one, you know.
That's kind of how you learn, is just being able to know like, oh, it's the same scenario. Like we were saying, it's the same scenario as Aquarius when Egypt has the same exact figure in their sense. But it still kind of ties in.
Don't
together.
let that labeling keep you though. Like, so there is the placebo effect, which even if you're just getting a sugar pill, you'll get a positive benefit, like a medicinal benefit from something that other people get, like what would be deemed a standard treatment, right? That's the placebo effect. But then on the opposite, that's just because you believe that it will work. You have the belief that what is being given to you is going to help you.
But that's how beautiful and not understanding of the world that we know is, that something like that can change somebody's perspective of health.
Oh, everything. If you just open your mind to like endless possibilities instead of the mucking of the past. We've been in a dark age. Like, you should all have suffered greatly. Like, no one was spared, you know. But it's a time now. It's like, what now? Where do we go from this point? you know, and we can band together and figure out the most optimal path and work together. Or we can keep our individual ants going against the colony mode, you know, like what's going to be smartest. And it's just really about doing things that make sense, not dollars, but maybe both at the same time.
But with that being said, though, how much of this influence can you do in a world aspect? Okay, like here's one of the things that always blows me away is like China is the most different, radicalist country that we would ever want to be. Even with these ideas and beliefs of the Aquarius, of being able to even think in this manner. No one in China has ever had a thought process like that at all because of the manipulation and the way that their mind has been fed. So where is it in the sense that, again, this kind of sucks. Why is it that we're right and they're wrong? And what if it's not that? What if they're right and we're wrong? What if we do need to unify like them and be just a sole dictatorship? That's how the world should run and we'd be perfect. But we don't know that because we have these underlying fucking... we have a war against these people, but yet it's a religious war for no reason, but yet there's money involved. There's so much different aspects of why it happens, but yet I think us as human beings don't truly... That's why we kind of get in these fights and arguments and stuff like that, because we don't truly understand the understanding of ourselves. But then again, we can't contradict when somebody else has the idea of something different than us.
Well, let's just go to China real quick, okay? Because I watched a whole video where they've been under a communist dictatorship for a very long time, right? Well, the video that I watched was it was like the Himalayan party or the Himalayan group party or something like that. They formed a literal third party that checks the Communist Party now. And these are lay people. These are people that said, screw you, we're done with this. We're abolishing this. We're not doing this. So you're not going to see that in mass media. You know, you're going to have to dig because it's not going to be on the news because we are under a mass scheme. We are getting pushed. Agendas are getting pushed on us and we're getting, you know, herded like sheep into this, you know, mass vaccinations and mass this and mass that. So you got to really kind of scale back and actually when you get into getting we got to get a separate information spreading way rather than the news is what I see, because the one that we can actually trust and control and that kind of thing. Get back to like the heart of journalism and that kind of thing, because the Himalayan group is very real, and so they are just basically a testimony that the age of Aquarius and the golden age shift is already happening. And it's just a matter of knowing that the energy is with us. It's just a matter of having the courage to do it. And that's what Gandhi did. That's what, you know, historical Jesus did, is just doing the right thing all the time. It doesn't matter what might come as a result. And let's just band together and do the thing and do it now, because we're suffering and we're in crisis mode. But if we get to our rest and repose mode of our neural system, then we can heal, you know, and that is the only way to heal, is for everybody to feel supported, everybody to have a home, everybody to have what they need regardless. Because if we're truly in a pandemic and people are dying and we're spreading disease, we need to do things smart, not just let our communist-ish, fastest-ish government, totalitarian, whatever you want to say. We don't want to get led and pushed into hating each other. It's the principalities. It's the system that's the issue. It is not us. But in a poverty place like Albuquerque, New Mexico, where we are, you know, you'll see quite frequently people warring against each other because they're so stressed. They don't have a place to go. They don't have this, that, and the other. And they're going to steal your shit. And they're going to go get some money for that shit that they just got off you because they need that shit, dude, or they think they need the shit. So it's a matter of providing for people in a way that you can ask for help. Because right now in our culture, you can't ask for help, or you get called names and you get bullied like you're scum of the earth. So we can't do that anymore, dude. It's just a matter of like doing things because we want to not look over and have our friends struggling. We want them to prosper just as we do. You know, take what you need and pass everything along.
Yeah. And that's kind of the aspect, like right now, is like, I want to be able to provide and help for a bunch of my friends, the comedian guys that you know and stuff. But then again, I'm going to get into that point where it's just like, does it feel like I'm helping one person more than the other? Does it feel like this person doesn't even need my help, but yet they kind of feel obligated that they should have my help? This is the same thing with the way the stimulus thing went about. Everybody got it. but there's hundreds of thousands of people that really didn't need it. And that just made a more unbearing situation for the rest of us, because now with the way that money is going to just be like inflated like to the max, I'm pretty sure this is what makes me sad growing up, is like when I was growing up, 12 packs of Coke were just like what, $1.75, and now they're like $5, and I'm just like, that is hard living. Like that kind of sucks, because if I feel if somebody wanted something like that, they can't get that. Even if they worked hard, they were just like, oh, I have a regular 9 to 5 job at minimum wage. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get the one that I wanted. I'm going to have to get a lower brand or a shittier thing. And that causes more conflict, more, I go to this guy's house, he's got cool stuff. I go to this person's house, he has nothing. I'm going to help this person over this person, but yet they don't see the underlying of why this person has this stuff and why this person has this stuff. Like, it's hard. It's fucking hard.
But I think, you know, if you ask the question of who do you help and that kind of thing, like if you're a rarity, you know, to a certain degree, as someone who is secure enough in your own self that you're looking to help your fellow man. You know, there's a lot of people that are in such, you know, they're so broken down in whatever way you want to look. They're just in their own self, you know, and they're not being service to others. They're stealing from others. They're harming others, you know, and not looking at the truth. So like, you're a rarity, right? But what we need to do is we need to band together people that are of like minds like you, right? And there are so many people out in this community like you.
That's why I think you saying me being the rarity is probably more of the opposite, where it's like people that steal and stuff is more of the rarity. But unfortunately, they get shed light on more than somebody like me.
Well, this is where you have to look and say, we're all in this together. Nobody's above or below anybody else. One massive flood is a sewer pandemic of pestilence, like pestilence, meaning you're going to have the sewer back up and it's going to be the disease that really gets you. It's not going to be COVID, you know, like that's a nasty, nasty situation. So if and I got a dam in Oklahoma that's not where it needs to be, and they're going to definitely have a breakdown at some point. Nobody's talking about this, you know? And so I just kind of see myself as like a shit starter, you know, like, hey, let's start a conversation. And because you guys are the people that are around here that are affected, so you got to form a plan together, you know, because your government isn't doing that. Regardless if they're evil people or whatever, you don't need to necessarily condemn people as like evil or whatever. They're just doing what they're doing, but it's not serving you. So it's a time to form a literal justice league of like smart planning and executing plans and working together, and many ants, one colony, you know. It just is smarter. It's just we can't do things that are inhibiting our growth and our expansion. You know, we've got to just open it up and say corporatocracy served a purpose maybe for a little while, but it's really not, you know. I'm out here in a greenhouse, like, you know, working 60 hours a week, and I feel decent in my wage, but I don't feel like everybody there is getting the same. They're not getting the same pay. They're not getting overtime. And so like, we got to look at the rules and say, well, why would we keep these people in? They have 2 jobs. They're working like more than I can even imagine just to be able to pay their stuff. Cause like I work 1 week, they get paid of the 2 of their weeks, you know what I'm saying? So why is that right? And I mean, these are special needs people. These are kind of older people. These are people that are just hardworking. Everybody there is hardworking, but you got to look at and pan out, okay, that agriculture rule, should we really keep that right now? And should we just wait for the governor to do it all? Because I heard that they're going to make liquor licenses especially easy to get for restaurants now. So if they're expanding the alcohol agenda, well, okay, that's not so cool, because we know that increases violence. I know that myself, I shouldn't drink too much because I've had a major history of trauma, and it just fuels my fire. You know, I don't need to do it, and I know I don't need to do it. I'll have a beer or whatever, but that's it. You know,
see, that's you having that discipline as well, because that's unfortunate that you have to kind of check yourself and know, but that's beautiful because you also know that there's a discipline aspect to being able to do that kind of shit. Like, there's people out there that I don't know how or where you learn this kind of stuff though, but learning discipline is one of those one of those essential things that really do help shape a human into being a better person, because they start to understand more of why they do the things they do, and is it good or bad in the sense of why they do it. But nobody does that anymore. And I don't want to be an asshole, but blaming it on society for having liquor, or blaming it on society for the drugs that they do and stuff. I know, again, this kind of fucking sucks, but I know multiple addicts that know how to have their 9-to-5 job, still know how to provide for their family, and get high. And that's kind of sad, but they're doing it in a way where I can't judge them. I can't be like, dude, that's fucked up, man. You bought your kids toys, you end up doing your job, and you still go home and get high. That's fucked up. But can I get mad at that? Is that really society dumbing itself down? Or is that one person that is using society's laws and structure to his benefit to make sure that he's happy in what he does? That
I think you need to look and see that I haven't met hardly anybody in New Mexico that didn't have some type of abuse in childhood. So it's like trauma is everywhere in New Mexico, especially, but like everywhere. It's just rampant. You know, we all have these traumas, you know, and you look at somebody providing for their family like that and pushing through. And even though you have anxiety and even though you have this, that, or the other, like you're pushing through and you're showing up to work and you're providing, you're going to need relief, dude. I am a major PTSD person myself. And if I did not have cannabis, if I did not have my hemp, if I was not like have my CBD oil and stuff like that, like I'm a much different person. I'm a much nicer person when I have my meds. Let's just say that. And so like you look at just what we're perpetuating, especially you get people like hooked in with poverty, then you need Medicaid. Then all you get is access to things that Medicaid, you can use Medicaid for, right?
But those are people that aren't using the medical system the way that they should. Unfortunately, it's a shitty system, but it's there, and it still helps those people that are impoverished and don't have any money to do that stuff.
Yeah, but all your option is pharmaceuticals, right? But it numbs you. So if we're in a time of ascension where you have to get right with yourself and you can't selectively numb, well, what does that mean? It means when you numb your traumas, you numb your pains, you numb your sorrows, you numb your grief, you numb all that stuff. You also numb your bliss, your joy, you're basically in this vicious cycle of never getting anywhere, you know? So it's about helping people. Even so, you can't look at somebody that's on drugs and condemn them. You have to look at them and like say, damn, dude, that's a person struggling. And how can I help you to feel supported, you know, and stuff like that. It's not pushing people like, I mean, I just feel like we got big pharma pushing this opioid situation. I was in Dayton, Ohio, and there had just had a mass shooting. And when I really got to poll people, there was a couple doctors that were massively over prescribing opioids in that area. So, but that's what I'm saying. If you got these agendas pushing more of that, pushing more liquor, and we got all these people that just bought guns, and we got like so many people buying guns that there's a shortage of ammo and stuff. You got to look at like the trend. What timeline are we on?
War.
And can we shift?
No, because China's coming. China's coming.
See, it's not a us and a them, dude. There's no China. That's what I'm telling you. Scared. You got the media. You got your own government saying, "Hey guys, fear, 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 fear," and all we're ants. And we're like running amok trying to pay our own rent. And
but that's not the same sense when you start to understand the political process of what they're doing as well. If you have China building a super highway all the way from their corner of the world to the end of Europe, called the Belt and Road Initiative, how does that not seem like some kind of supremacy? How does that not seem like they're trying to take over more than what they do? Giving South Africa millions of dollars in loans, and the only way that South Africa can pay them back is in 100 years, or they're allowed to build shipping ports in their state.
Yeah, so that's why we have to band together against tyranny, for our sovereignty, to demand that what goes down is going to be best for everybody. Because I mean, it's just time, and it's literally a point where you have to transcend the monetary system, you know?
Do you not think though that in that aspect though, some people have to die because they don't have the same mindset as us?
Okay, this is where we're in a time of ascension, and you have to choose. You have to choose the heart. You know, if you don't choose the heart, if you don't do this process, like if you don't raise your vibration to a certain level in a golden age, you're just not there. I'm not going to say what happens because I haven't got that far. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. I know that we are at a point where, like, if you're gaslighting yourself and everyone around you, that's kind of a tough spot to be in. But I understand why you've been there, because you have this belief that you've held on to and you're struggling to change it or whatever. But it's a paradigm shift every moment. You know, if you're truly in this alignment, you know that you're always growing. You always have to let go of the story of who you used to be so that you can just be who you are. You have to let go, make amends. You have to, you know, just be an elder, you know. But I have fun and joy and all that at the core of everything you do, and spreading that bliss, you know. And when you do that, it's light, you know, that does, like, it's quantum, you know, and it does. This is proven. It's a domino effect of light. You know, you can look at The Field by Lynn McTaggart, I think is her name. These are proven, measurable things that, you know, you do have to do the digging. You have to, but I feel like we are maybe just helping as mental slavery abolitionists to say, guys, look at reality. Guys, check it. Just look in the mirror. Okay. Like, here's what we're seeing. Are you seeing the same thing or different? Always having like an open forum, you know, to grow. But certain people are like, no, I'm this, and there's no way I'm going to change my mind. Well, good luck with that. You're clinging to a shoreline that doesn't exist. So yes, those people they're already getting torn apart, and we have mass deaths and stuff like that. And I see that as an ascension process. I see that truly as people are not. And this is why I feel like it's time to spread awareness of, guys, this is a process we're in. We're in a massive purging. Like, you have to get triggered. You have to feel those feelings. You have to be one with you no matter what. And no matter what, you have to always be unconditionally loving towards that which is now. Because if you have any resistance, it's just not reality. It's an alternate reality that is literally like not even serving, you know, a mass consciousness of growth.
Yeah,
you know?
In a sense that, what is the reality though? Because again, going into the whole quantum thing, there's multiple aspects of what could be going on right now. We can be in the same exact scenario, but you're telling me this stuff in that chair and I'm telling you this stuff in that chair.
Of course.
But yet, in a sense though, oh man, this is what blows me away, is that, like, there's this some kind of spiritual awakening that people are trying to have, but yet it's not going to happen, because I don't think that there is such a thing. Because we don't know what this is, what this spiritual awakening is. And this paradigm shift that you speak of that might happen and stuff, it kind of already does happen with us being introduced to new things all the time. Like right now, the government has released more and more information about UFOs. What's going to happen when we actually do see an alien?
Pause, okay? And here's where I'm going to tell you a story from my own life in New Mexico.
This is a perspective, though, guys.
No, oh, yeah.
This is perspective.
Yeah.
Let's get that. Go for it.
So I had this friend who, he's not really a friend anymore or whatever. I remained in contact with the family, but he was way tuned into UFOs every single night with his telescope. Okay. But he was also controlled by the feds. He had been involved in meth and drug court and all that stuff, had to get his son back. Along the way, he took a deal. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, I was like, where's the tracker, dude? Because it was like really weird stuff was going on. But so he says, like, I'm tuned into UFOs, and he like could even put it into my phone. So I've even got video, or I've got pictures like of what I was seeing some part of the way. Well, okay, at this one point, I just was getting bored at watching UFOs constantly. And this is outside Edgewood, New Mexico, in one of the parks over there. I'm like, oh my God, it's like thousands. They're docking into a freaking mothership at this point. Like, this is like legit happening in front of my eyes right now. And then we go to put my phone onto the telescope and to like record video and stuff. And these crazy, like, I don't know, kind of bonkers noise comes from my phone that I've never heard before in my life at an immediate moment that we were going to start recording it or whatever. But so we didn't do that. But so what we did do, he like drives off from this park and then he parks. He just was like guided. Like he was doing meth too. And I'm not going to knock people doing these drugs, because you got to look at, I mean, I do feel like you gotta change your shit because it's not taking you on a good path. But
it's a discipline thing. Again,
it is,
I don't know. this is a crazy thing too.
But let's get more solutions.
You can have the best euphoric experience on cocaine with your lover if you do it the right way.
Right. And I'm not going to knock that.
And you
I'm not gonna knock
can't
that.
because it's so many different aspects of it, even from past history.
But you just got to look at not everything's like equal. Not all drugs are equal, you know, and let's just look at it like that, you know.
It's how you take it.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, he parks his car from this park. He like drives off and then he like just parks on the side of this road. Well, on either side, UFOs were literally landing left and right into this field. I was like, oh my God, if we go down this road right here, we'd literally be at UFOs. And then all of a sudden, he like starts like the car into motion and a car comes behind us and tries to run us aggressively off the road and then speeds off. And there was this other car and I was like, fuck, don't get sandwiched in. It was like a Hollywood moment of like I'd seen on a movie or something. Yeah. So what I'm telling you is we were watching something we were not supposed to watch.
Okay.
And then weirdly, this was like at a time where BLM was like really popping up sparsely everywhere, doing like little protests and stuff. We go to a car wash and we're like got his car parked in this car wash, and then this Hispanic looking chick that has like the most beautiful Hollywood looking hair that I've ever seen comes up and she's like, she talks to me for a second, but then she goes to everybody around and she's like, look at these white people, they're taking forever in this car wash, look, white people are trying to take the, you know, like basically trying to like elicit a riot. Like, so we go from trying to get, you know, jarred off the road to a weird moment, didn't manifest into like a riot, obviously, in a car wash and where we were or anything, but it was just weird. So I'm telling you, look at the agenda. So I've got a lot of videos of like preachers and stuff like that saying Revelations is basically showing us that you're gonna take a staged UFO invasion is going to get people to take the mark of the beast. Okay, so I know what I'm seeing. I can get called crazy left and right. It's cool. Like, that's fine. Like, I know what I'm seeing and I could pull out these witnesses that had the same experience, you know, but regardless, so it's propaganda. You ease people into these big things. So you get them images left and right of these things, UFOs, like, you know, and you get these Facebook groups and these like cult like stories of, you know, the QAnon and stuff like that kind of stuff. And then what I see is like you could get millions of people in on a BLM movement, and you know, people were getting paid on both sides of that, right? But you can get a ton of people, let's say at in front of the Washington Monument, or, you know, some huge thing, and then you can bring in and just scorch the shit out of a lot of people, because I do believe that these are people that are there is a staged scheme. Okay, there is a staged scheme is what I'm indicating here. Okay. That, you know, we got a bigger agenda at play. We're in phases of said agenda, and that New Mexico's, you know, headquarters here of big stuff, because it's basically the next Hollywood. You got the headquarters of Netflix. You got the headquarters of so many big, huge things.
Even before that, though, you know, the whole history of us is just intense. Like the UFOs, the whole Native American culture, the fact that they actually brought the atomic bomb here. Yeah. The national labs that are here. Yeah. They're national labs of the whole United States. I don't know if
missile testing.
I don't know if you know this, but in Los Alamos National Labs, they have a radar detector that detects radioactive activity anywhere in the world.
Right.
But it's in Los Alamos.
Exactly.
So they know if something goes on in fucking Switzerland. They know if something goes on in South China. They know that stuff all in Los Alamos. How does that not show how much importance this state has?
Amen.
It's scary, though.
It is. But we're not united against that power.
We can't be.
Well, yes, we can. No. Why?
Because unfortunately, with the times that we've gone through, the police state or Big Brother has over-dominated us.
I've got friends that are from the military, NRA specialists who would band together right now because our United States Constitution.
But then that's more reason for them to okay, let's take their guns away because those guys are obviously crazy. Let's go ahead and start doing this because obviously they're crazy.
That's a fear-based scenario of what could go wrong.
Look, okay, this is a shitty part that happened right now. Look at this that happened 1 hour ago. This is so fucking shitty right here. 1 hour ago in Austin, Texas. And you know what just happened in Austin, Texas? Joe Rogan moved there. And he's a big gun activist. He's like really a big gun activist. Everybody should have a gun there. But yet, unsuspected, somebody shot up in Austin, Texas now. They're finding these places just to go ahead and like do these mass shootings. And again, it could be this...
To elicit fear.
Not only to elicit fear, but to make it seem like us as people, as individuals, as Americans, have less of rights than we actually do.
And it's time to declare our sovereignty. Demand it, but by banding together. And I don't see any other way.
But it's hard, right? Again, if
it doesn't mean don't do it.
Okay, this is the example.
It doesn't mean it's a never, because if we're in the age of infinity, then it is a possibility.
But what's going to happen? Okay, here's an example. What's going to happen if you left right now and you got pulled over? And the first thing they asked you is they were like, ma'am, get out of your car. They didn't say... we pulled you over for this. They didn't say we did this. All they told you is to get out of your car. Doesn't that feel like a violation of your rights right away?
I have already had my rights violated by the system so many times. It's incredible. Okay?
So how does that...
So I already know that it's jacked up, and that's what I'm saying. If you look at...
We're not winning at any point then.
If you look at Aesop's Fables, though, okay, it says... in this one part of it, that you don't need to argue with your oppressors if they intend to be unjust.
There's a reason why history doesn't repeat itself.
What do you mean?
Like, even that fable that you just said, if they know about it and they know why, they work around that. They understand the ideas and the premises that we have.
Who's they?
Big Brother, the government.
I'm just saying, I don't live in fear, and I'm one person, and I've started a movement called Unite, the number 2, Thrive, and it's unite2thrive.com. And what I'm doing so far is just collecting email addresses so that I can get like an email list to keep people like updated. But that's all I got so far. I really need an interactive team of people to help me launch this thing. This is a thing that's way bigger than me, and I've like get overwhelmed with just like the notion of it. But the cool thing is I've already got businesses ready to pair. I even just took a shower in New Mexico, and I've got a business that's like, hey, what's that thing you were telling me about? You know, so I've got I feel like this is a energy balance notion, that it has to be a thing, that the flashlight always dissipates the darkness. If you want to use the word God, you could say, you know, God equals light, you know, equals
Odin.
Yeah, it's already one. You know, I don't want to get into labels and separate people by labels or whatever, but let's just say the light always wins.
Satan!
But, you know, it's just a matter of us taking everything at the core of it is information and energy. So you shift the information, you basically band together around a formed plan that is of the light, and you shift the focus, and bam. What else is there? And it's a time to act. It's not a time to say, what if this, what if that? Okay, you get in there and you start the dirty work, and you start the volunteerism, and you provide for people, and you do things, and then you tweak the thing as it goes along, and you show the applied success, and then you snowball it, you know. And that's what I'm saying. It starts small. It's called a grassroots thing for a move, you know, for a reason there. You know,
you got a GoFundMe or anything yet?
I don't have very much at all.
No Patreon.
I'm like the worst leader ever.
Maybe it's better than actually being like Mao or something. But let's give a few shout outs to everybody that's in the chat right now. Thank you guys for joining. You guys are awesome. We have Company for Learning. He says hello, and he says, nice, you're live. Thank you for joining. Got Emily in the studio hanging out. Maurice Linton, you're back. Thank you. I am back. I appreciate that. We also have Jared Ostrom. He's says 8 Mile. 8 Mile in the house. So yeah, we got some comedy fans in here as well. There is this one guy who's says fact checker. That's his YouTube name, and he says the statement you have made is false and have been reviewed by independent fact checkers. Thank you for your cooperation.
Which one?
I think it's a troll. Like that guy has to be a troll. We obviously.
Oh God, we already have trolls. We're doing something right then, right?
We've been talking about
censorship, fascism.
But people would call us trolls in a sense too, because the ideas and stuff that we're spreading doesn't compute.
They're new age. I'm sorry, I don't have to convince anybody.
How is that new age if we're talking about all kinds of stuff from the back? Yeah.
I know, because it's a cycle thing. It's just, I'm telling you. And I can show you about the pyramids. Okay,
don't freak me out, because Jeremy Chavez, thank you for joining. You're awesome. We need to have you back on as well. He's a musician, local musician. He's been on here a few times. We'll have you back, Jeremy. You're awesome. The pyramids. Okay, so first of all, they're alien made. They're made by aliens because we don't know how they're made. Second of all, there's so many cool astrological signs that they connect with the stars.
Exactly.
So, okay, the whole Orion's belt thing, that's awesome.
Exactly.
The Milky Way is like the Nile River.
Yep.
But unfortunately, the Sphinx isn't the proper Sphinx that it should be. That's what they say. We don't know, unfortunately. There's a bunch of evidence. That's the crazy thing, too. Egyptologists, people that study Egypt religion, don't believe an actual geologist that says, hey, man, this is weathering from water. And they're like, yeah, because the Nile River flooded. If that was the case, that would not be hundreds of thousands of millions of years old. I kind of exaggerated that number. But the way that they do the astrological thing, it doesn't align with it unless it's in a certain year because of the way the world's precession works. So at that time, it was at the age of Leo, which was at 100 something BC. I can't remember. Fuck, so many fucking numbers. But that's why the Sphinx is at the dawn of the where the sunrise is, because of the whole celestial signs of whatever that is. But is that past knowledge of a civilization or of an ancient world that we just don't know of? Is it aliens that kind of told us this kind of knowledge? Is it... There's so many aspects of what it could be that we just won't know. Because another thing too is like how much of our records of history have been destroyed because of the name of the Lord or the name of God. Like that makes me so sad.
Scary, huh?
It's sad because like, what if like some of the stuff that we learn now is just going to be lost in time?
But think about, that's the time we're in. For the greater good. For the greater good. Let's give away all our freedoms. For the greater good. Look at 9/11. Come on. For the greater good, you guys, give away. Let's do this. Let's, So we're in the same... You gotta look at... Just kind of like pan out and say like... Okay, this thing was written like at a time when like certain things happened, and like you're saying, cycles have happened, and now okay, history is like we're looking at dead in the face. But the issue is nobody has formed this plan. We got a lot of people that are like anxious, ready for their next higher role in life, and they want to be a part of something, but there is nothing is organized yet, and so it's just a time to do that.
What would be the higher role? Like isn't
service to humanity, service to this bigger picture, because we have to.
But I see it as like a sense of just making sure you're happy.
That helps. That is everything. Like, but then spread that outwards, service to others. But that also goes back to the crisis mode thing. And if everybody's looking out for everybody else, then everybody is gonna, not be
kind of in a sense where like, okay, this whole block owns a garden. We all have to work together to grow and take care of it and stuff.
Yeah, if you want to be like completely honest, I don't believe that Albuquerque is like an awesome place to live for very much longer.
What do you know? What do you know, Oklahoman?
I know.
Oklahomie?
No.
I don't know.
So what I honestly like, I'm going to sound like an extremist, radical, crazy person, and that's cool and that's fine.
Tell me.
But if, said, monsoon, we've gone from a drought and we know at some point, we're going to get a showering that's going to overthrow the sewer, and stuff like that. Then, you don't want to live here. You want to be nomadic. You want to have the ability to, oh crap, this place is no longer inhabitable. Okay. So if we can get like closer to predicting that too, we can shift people even ahead of time and just mitigate a lot of suffering, and then get those people involved in, new age cooperative, industrial stuff and stuff that, getting the sustainable process rolling, things that are smarter, and instead of like this, throwaway society that we've been doing. But so if we can unite people just at the core of, like you were saying, let's just say we're all different and let's be cool with that, and let's just make sure that like if people have needs, then we can like get them some support, or
it's there for them.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Yep. A safety net is necessary for everybody. We've just been pushed into this system, and now we have to transcend the system and kind of look at that. So that's just what I'm seeing though, is if we got the potential for FEMA camps, is that what you want, in the future? If there is a time when you need to leave. And then you got to look at poverty too. Not everybody would have an equal opportunity to leave. And then you got to look at New Mexico is 49th in the nation in funding education and in incarcerating people, and then below that 50th is Oklahoma. So I've gone from one of the worst impoverished places to the second worst impoverished places in the nation. So
We're culturally diverse.
Culturally diverse, but if you're not in the prisons, I mean, yes and no, but you gotta look at like the industrial corporation even of prisons, and in what, you know, that's basically slavery using the 13th Amendment that says if you're a criminal, then you can be a slave, and that's ran by people that just want money in their pockets, but that's not rehabilitating people, that's further traumatizing people. So you gotta look at, okay, that's not actually helping us. So, you know, like we're just at a point where we gotta get kind of like a tribal elder group of like people together and start like forming like, hey, well, this is a legitimate solution over here, and just do the damn thing and pull in funding for that and pull in, you know, corporations that are actually in support of unity rather than war. And it'll get to a point like a boycott, you know, if you want to really look at it, where, you know, if you don't support unity, we don't support you. And we need to quit feeding the wrong wolf, you know, as consumers.
Well, it's going to be hard because I don't know if you've ever heard of the scientist called Brett Weinstein, but he actually did try to start a movement. He's actually a very awesome microbiologist and studies biology a lot out of, I can't remember where it was, what school, but he actually got banned from there too just because of what he was talking about. But he actually wants to start a movement where both parties of the political aspect come together to form one called Unity 2021. Where it's actually these ideas where they both have something in common and they don't, but yet they're still talked out and brought to the table. His Twitter was banned.
See?
He was kicked off of there, and
fascism.
Not only that, like there's that's gone. Like where's that idea now?
Hello. So we can't allow for that to get stifled so easily. We got to get off of Facebook, get off of Amazon, get off of these. We can't feed these things anymore, you know. We gotta literally. So I just looked at cars in Phoenix, Arizona, and this one Subaru dealership was owned by Hathaway. What's that mega thing ran by Warren Buffett? Hathaway, let me see. Anyway, it was basically Warren Buffett is the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, and that is a conglomerate that owns like Geico. It owns like all these different, you know, corporations. So it's we little people in poverty. We are not exactly as powerful, you know, in certain regards as Warren Buffett having all that at his disposal. But if we just band together in a cooperative, and I really want to band together hemp and cannabis, especially in New Mexico, as the rec decision has just made, because I'm having all kinds of people worried about that we need to unify and get even the standard of quality down and stuff like that. But so it's a big time where it's a changing of the guards. We got to have the meek inheriting this earth one way or the other, you know. And so the best way I can see is literally unifying around a plan, you know. And so I'm just starting the conversation. I'm just being a catalyst. I'm saying, guys, here's where the schemes are pushing us. You said war. I didn't say it. You know, war.
They had a song about it. I'm just kidding.
What is it good for?
It's absolutely nothing. But unfortunately, that's just we have to start small. And if anybody's going to start anywhere, just be a good person. Like,
amen.
Literally, just be a nice person. Like, I know everyone has bad days. I know everybody has like shitty moments in their life, but if you can just overcome it and understand where somebody else is coming from that shitty or bad day, you might have a better understanding of how that person feels. And that's kind of a starting jumping point to being a better humanity, I feel. Like, I don't know where else I would start. I don't know how I would start, but all I know is that I know the difference between what's right and wrong. I know that I shouldn't go out and hurt people. I know that I shouldn't steal. I know that if I have the ability to help somebody, I should help them when I can.
Right.
Everybody, if they had that, just that little mentality mindset, would change
Paradigm
that
shift.
just a little. And again, maybe it's not in the sense where you want the whole world to unify and maybe we all sit in a circle and hum and we make the whole world glow in this amazing light. But it might be in a sense where we all just can go down the street and wave at each other with no problem at all. Because right now, the only time I've ever seen that was at a small town. Because
Me too.
I come from like
I was thinking that too. We could get back to that. Look people dead in the eye and shake and nod your little head and say, "I see that you exist and I acknowledge your presence."
This is the main reason for this podcast, is because the type of conversations that are having right now don't get said anymore. Like we don't talk. We've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes now. Nobody does that anymore. For a legit hour and 20 minutes, have this conversation where we have our knowledge bounce off of each other is very rare now. It's not done anymore. And the beautiful thing is that we might have taken negative or positive perspective of what we have in this conversation, but we've learned. I've learned a lot, and I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, I'm not into the whole spiritual hippie bullshit, but guess what? It's okay, because half of the time that's what being a good person is just like being a nice person. And it doesn't have to have the belief of like your vibrations are aligned and stuff, because that still freaks me out. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know the aspect of like, here's another question too. Like, do you believe in chakras?
Of course.
That hurts, because there's so many things in my aspect where I'm just like, isn't it just you being a good person? Like, you don't have to have your body aligned in a certain way to know that, like, oh, my green chakra is the one that's going to make sure that I'm a good person, so that the red one contradicts with the... Like, I feel like that's way too much of an analogy of trying to be something that we're putting into ourselves. Like,
I think you just got to get into the science of healing and know that this is a ancient practice that, you know, isn't just like you said, know nothing about it.
Yeah, I go work out. I feel good. I feel like my chakras are aligned after a good sit-up workout and stuff, but I don't know if that's the case.
Well, this is where meditation and stuff come and when you look at what they were doing with the pyramids, what I saw is that they were pushing out these frequencies out of the pyramids, and you know, they're located at kind of acupuncture points of the earth, basically, that are aligned with Orion's belt and whatever. But that when they were pumping out these frequencies, it was helping with this like enlightenment and like the population and stuff, that it was amplifying, you know, kind of thing. And so if you go on YouTube, you can look at all these meditations that correspond the frequency to your specific chakra. But I know that I've specifically worked on every one of my chakras intentionally, and I can take it back to like traumas that, you know, imbalanced my chakras, and look at like, you know, I can tell when I'm imbalanced, you know, and I can tell, you know, so if you know, like the reproduction happens here, you know, this happens here, that happens there, like you can tune into that frequency on YouTube and you can amplify the frequency of that chakra. And you can even have like the stone that corresponds with that. And so maybe this is an ancient practice you're unaware of that actually does help. That it's, if you have an open mind to it, you might have an expansive experience with it. Once again, going back to placebo effect, but then on the opposite spectrum is the nocebo effect. So if you absolutely know nothing's going to work, and you know, you're just dead set on, you know, God, nothing's ever going to change.
Yeah, it won't happen.
It won't for you. We're having a very individual experience of ascension.
Yeah. But that's, again, in a particular person, too. Because I feel everything that you explained to me about being in your frequency and being able to touch in with those vibrations, I can do without having to...
You're doing it with music.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't have to...
So you're doing it naturally.
But I don't have
to...
I don't have to sensify it in a way where it's like, this is the color of the chakra that I have that's working with this or whatever.
But I wouldn't knock it. I am a student in the University of Metaphysics in Sedona, Arizona, personally. And I'm then in groups with other people who are, you know, into metaphysics.
Yeah.
So you get to a lot of people saying the same things, basically, you know. You know, and then so it's like basically pulling like minds together to figure out what's real, you know, and amplifying these maybe spiritual gifts. So once you have these golden age shifts, you also get activated. There's more available light. Like the sun is kind of more seemingly LED, like this different kind of energy coming out. I wake up at 5. I go to work very early. I've been doing agricultural work. And so I'm there when the sun rises and, you know, I'm there when the sun sets, like for that experience. And I'm telling you, I've been doing that for 2 years because I left my house and kind of entered the forest 2 years ago. But so with that, like, it's an incubator for the soul, and it's a matter of tuning into what you want rather than the absence of what you want, you know? And if we all do that and we all form a plan and we all do that and we all forgive and we all let go and we all know we're one and we're in this together and infinity is real and it has to be so, then what can go right will go right.
I mean, you have to understand that it's something that we just don't understand. Because, I mean,
Yep,
it's a lot to take in. Like,
it is.
even because, again, it's so sad to say, but everything that we're talking about right now would just go into Evan's ear and out the other. Like, it would not it would not renaissance in his head at all. Like, nothing.
Well, and this is where I want to do a happy tears video experience, and pulling in there's a thing called Slow TV out of Norway, and they united the entire Norway using this thing called Slow TV, and they put a camera on a train, and so you could ride the train, you know, and then they did a ship, and then they did knitting, and then they did watching a fire, you know, the slowest, weirdest shit. But these people are meditating together and they're having an experience together, and it's uniting the entire country. So what I want to do is bring that algorithm to applied healings and all these, like, we come together. I want to, in a open, like, because it's about being transparent. Where is the money going? What is it doing? How is it helping? This is about what is real, you know, getting back to reality, because people are suffering and we are losing. I just had a friend say that she had a 15-year-old son of one of her friends commit suicide recently. You know, I don't want to see any more of that. That's a person that felt alone in their struggles. So if we can just unisolate everyone and, you know, make sure people know that they're emotionally supported in every which way supported. Why? Because it benefits the whole, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Again, if everybody's on that same kind of alignment, they don't have to worry about, well, I'm not going to get fed, or I'm not getting the help or the support that I need. But that's we kind of already touched upon this, but just the way that Big Pharma has kind of turned it into, it's okay. It's not okay to feel sad anymore, and it's not okay to feel lonely and stuff.
The DSM-5 has criminalized all human behavior.
Like, it's scary because like me growing up, I remember when I broke up with my first girlfriend, like I was super sad, the emo, emotional, but I shouldn't be put on a pill, or I shouldn't be put on some kind of antidepressant because of human nature.
And that's the scheme at play. They want to take you away from you so that they can control you.
That's hard, though. That's very hard.
It is. I'm not saying any of this is easy, okay, but it's absolutely, no matter what, you have a choice: self-actualize or bust.
It's hard. That self-actualization is very hard when you have, like, this, I guess you could say, curtain in front of your face.
But if the environment shifts towards a loving, I'll tell you a story. When I was a social worker, I had a little boy. He was the biggest troublemaker ever. He was a little kid that, like, definitely wanted some attention, you know, and he was getting it by, you know, and he was defiant. Well, that was in that classroom. He upgraded. He got older. And then he went to a different class where every morning the teachers were like, I am giving you a big hug. I'm going to look you dead in the eye and say, I love you. Literally the word love in school. And they would literally say, I'm so happy to see you. And I love you every single morning. Did that kid have any behavioral issues in that class? None. Love is heaven. It is heaven on earth. So if you just spread that type of, you know, that's what I love about the comedy group. Everybody's excited to see everybody. Everybody wants to hear what people have to share and wants to support each other.
That's one of those euphoric experiences. Like, we
Nirvana.
We get in that garage and it's just like all of our frequencies are aligned. We're all know what we're going to talk about. We all are happy about what we're talking about. It's
a portal. No,
it's great. I love it. I mean,
what I'm proposing, I have a team building company that I've just never launched because I experienced a lot of trauma after I started it.
Okay.
And I want to help you guys learn what this little social magic is, because you guys already have a skill set to be great hosts in this.
I'm out. Just kidding.
And then help you guys know, like, it's basically just playing and helping people grow together.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is like have, you know, video testimonial, like make this a magnetize everybody towards this, which is applying social solutions to actual problems, you know?
Yeah.
But in the team building aspect is bioengineering what's called a blue zone. And that's where people on the planet live into their hundreds longer than anywhere else. And there's 5 or 6 identified blue zones currently on Earth. Loma Linda, California, Okinawa, Japan. I know there's Italy was a big one. But what is the common thread? There's also a town in the 50s called Roseto, Pennsylvania. And they also had a similar phenomenon where people were not getting heart disease. They were the only place where people had not died under the age of 55 of a heart attack. So you look at what is that common thread, and it is being social. So you got a scheme saying socially distance. Well, we've done that. All right. We are where we are, but it's time to come alive. And it is time, even if it's small group settings or whatever, but we are a social creature, you know, and without that, we know, like, if we're not held as a baby, we even die. So we as adults are no different from that. So we've got a ton of people having been even isolated for a year and stuff like that. I mean, it's a time to give people a safe place and a structured way where people can come together and play and grow together and communicate and laugh and just be together, and not go to a bar to get liquored up to do it first. You know, like, let's do this intentionally. I want to pull in the recovery movement of Albuquerque. We've got a huge, awesome recovery scene in Albuquerque in certain regards. A lot of the like AA, NACA kind of meetings, regardless of your, you know, thoughts on that, but there are the people are showing up. People are saying, I want help. I want this. I don't want to go off track. And it is a life or death decision for many people. Many people, if they just let that one little slip, it's their last. And I've got testimonial after that, after testimonial. So it's a time where we don't want to but their big thing too is like service to others, spread what you know, support each other. So I want to just pull like all these facets in that are already, you know, kind of doing good, but we got, you know, we need more funding, or we need, you know, exposure, or we need this or that. Like, let's just do it smart, and let's do it, and let's stop procrastinating. You know, the time is now, and the time has been now for a while.
You heard it here, folks. Movements are about to happen.
Bowel.
It's hard. I love it. I love every aspect of what you say. It makes so much sense. But then you go out to the streets and it's just not that straightforward at all. Like at all. The idea that I see you portraying takes years, if not hundreds.
We'll see, huh?
That's very true.
I don't see anybody trying at this point.
Well, they're trying in different aspects as well, too. Like, unfortunately...
Fresh needles? Yeah, let's have that outreach.
Well, you get
Which I understand that.
You get the idea. You get the idea of, like, the garage. Like, again, Wheeler did not have to host that place. It's his own house. But yet, he's willing to let random people that he doesn't even know come in his house with very... famous fucking frames on his wall of celebrities that he's met and signed with, but he's like, hey, I don't give a fuck because I'm a good person.
That's it.
But that's
spread that light, man. Band all these kind of people together and then spread it out.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you met some people like us. Cause
me too.
Imagine if you would have met a cholo, that'd have been worse. Just kidding. I'm pretty gangster myself, but
me too.
Oh man, that's so crazy. Can I like kind of lighten the situation a little bit? Are you into pop culture at anything? Do you like My Little Pony or something, man? That's dirt. Like, we just went on a fucking hour and a half or like social dilemma right there. I'm just like, oh man, the world is so bad, but it's okay. We can fix it.
But you're focused on how bad it is, and I'm focused on bringing a solution. You know?
To be fair, I just like being the devil's advocate in everything.
It's great.
If you would have been super optimistic about or super negative about it, I would have been super positive. I've been like, you know what? Look at my dog. I'm over there petting my dog and trying to introduce it to all the neighbors and stuff. That's a good person. It's just being
No, I'm a nobody. I would love to just remain completely anonymous, but
Not
I don't
anymore.
see
You
it.
got probably 5 new followers.
Anyway, so I don't know what do you want to lighten it up with?
Pop culture. What are you into? Do you you obviously are a musician as well. What music are you into? You like anything into Katy Perry? Don't even say that. That's my girl.
I don't know. I kind of learned a lot about her when she was with Russell Brand.
I like her music. That's it. But yeah, like what got you into playing drums? Like you say you're a drummer. What, you played some other instruments as well. Tell me more about that.
I just I feel like I have this underlying streak of apathy, so I don't get anything going real seriously, you know. So I've just been driving around the country for like 2 years and practicing, you know, a lot, just like playing with songs and stuff. But I did a drum circle with djembes, and the djembe really spoke to me. I love the djembe, so I went and got a djembe, and I just would be in my living room, like, you know, hammering it out on there. But I don't know. Recently, I had a friend be like, "Hey, play with me," and out of nowhere, and I hadn't played the drums in a long time, so it was a box drum though, and I had never played that, but I was able to like follow it really well. So I don't know, it felt really great to play music. That's what I miss, that I didn't get to see Albuquerque before the pandemic, because I know that there was like such an artistic heart there.
Oh, I had such a good metal band. You didn't even know. What is it? Kind of like this?
It put in Kenyan kilt.
Kenyan kilt.
Yeah, and then Meinl, Meinl, and it's a D. Djembe is spelled Djembe. Djembe.
You can tell I'm dyslexic.
But I did.
Get me a pill for it right now.
Right? No, I did a drumming circle, and I could feel the energy move, and I've done a few drumming circles and stuff, and I just went and I was like sold. So, but I love the bass of this drum.
Oh, you damn hippie.
Yep. I got a 14-inch one. I got the biggest one.
Damn.
And I will just like...
You're like a gangster. You're just like, yeah, I got the 14-inch one. Those are some rims.
Do you see... No, wait. What's this kettle? What's this kettle thing? No, take the kettle out of there.
I didn't spell it right.
And nothing there is right except drum.
It's this one. That's what it looks like, guys. I just kidding.
DJM.
This one?
Yeah. But do Kenyan kilt.
Kenyan kilt. That's
Wait,
what I forgot. I was like, oh, she said something. Oh, yeah, kennel.
Kettle. Yeah, you said that was for the kettle game. Anyway, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But so artists that I like, I have been really following Brandy Carlisle as a lesbian, and she's a folk artist. I'm big into lyrics, and I want to bring kind of like a 90s grunge, 90s feel. I'm a 90s kid. You're a 90s kid.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but that was kind of a time. Like we are supposed to kind of lead this thing, I feel like, because we had a stable time to grow up in certain regards, certain ways. I feel like
there's
wasn't out of the huge
major
crazy war.
Yeah, no major traumas.
Yeah,
I mean 9/11, but still it wasn't.
That was after we were already in high school.
But still, it wasn't in a sense where we literally had to like, oh, now the way that your structure of school's changing.
Yep.
Oh,
Cold War.
Yeah.
All that.
All these propaganda things about like what's going on. Like we unfortunately there was like the war on terrorists that came up a lot.
We were watching The Sandlot and like playing with our friends outside.
During that time, my mom was actually working at the New Mexico State Fair, and they closed it down that day because of the terrorist attacks on 9/11. So they were just like, "Oh, you're not going to school."
Right.
The next day, though, I had a teacher who was kind of French, but she was still from here. She had a son who was in the Navy, and she wouldn't stop crying because she said, I'm going to war. My son's going to war. I'm never going to see him again. And I'm in 5th grade, and she's fucking traumatizing me. Like, how am I supposed to deal with that not knowing? Like, okay, my parents have never been to war. My dad's an illegal alien, so he's obviously like, you know, he's never seen that kind of aspect of war and stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe he does know a little bit about like the Mexican War and shit that happened here in America with World War II and shit like that, but he's not like her. Like, she was really feeling it, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it.
But if you look at Martin Luther King had the three perils. It was a quote, or it was a speech that he gave, and it was poverty, war, and what was the other one? What was the third one? I don't know, but it was the things that are like used to stifle mass populations, you know? So if we're looking and we're basically banding together in our own civil rights, even because if you look at Albuquerque, one of my friends that I work with, his brother was literally drugged by a dog leash behind a cop car and then shipped to an insane asylum. So has he ever had justice? No. So like that's just one story, and there's like so many stories of like political corruption within all that. And so if we band together though and we shed light and we say we're not going to let our people get tortured like this anymore and we're going to do things for us. But you look at the Dulce tribe, it's Apache, the Dulce New Mexico Apache tribe. They didn't even experience the Great Depression and they are one of the richest tribes and they were in such harsh conditions, but other native tribes around there helped them because they were like from the plains, and then they shipped them over to the mountains, but they industrialized. They kind of did whitey pretty well, and then they did. Oh man, we're taking it back. I'm taking it back to like harsh.
Go for subjects. It. I was reading about it too, but
so they formed a cooperative store that benefited the whole. Right. So what I want to propose is an online cooperative store that benefits everybody. And I have a lot of innovative ideas to bring to the table.
It's been done. It's called the Silk Road.
There you go. So it's a matter of just banding together everything that works.
It does. But unfortunately, it's a free place to be able to have any ideas or anything you want to have sell to people.
Right.
That means drugs. That means soliciting sex.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I've never looked into that. I don't know what you're talking about.
So have you ever heard of a thing called the dark web?
Yeah.
Okay, so the deeper part of the web that certain web browsers don't let you access and shit like that.
Yeah.
So that's where this is at. This is a website on the deep web called the Silk Road, where it's a trading road where you literally can put anything on this market to trade. Anything. Mm-hmm. If you really wanted to, you can put even... I hate to say it, but like human parts, like trafficking.
Planned Parenthood goes on there.
Trafficking, all kinds of shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's anonymous, and the way you're doing it is a transactions through cryptocurrency.
Right.
But yet you're still having this free aspect to give people anything that they might need at that point.
Right.
Because it's not a bad thing to know that, hey, I really need this certain utensil for a certain surgery that I know I can do myself, but if I go to the hospital, then I'll be part of the system, then I'll have to put it on the bill, and then I'll have to pay that bill, and it puts me into debt where I can just go on the Silk Road, buy the damn tool, and then do it myself. Which is, I know it sounds fucked up and weird, but there's so many scenarios like that where it actually helps benefit the person instead of having to go through this system where like I get put in debt. I recently...
Slavery.
Well, I cut my finger and I had to go to the doctor for it. I cut it pretty bad where I had to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor. They put 2 stitches in my pinky and they sealed it up. $350. There goes my fucking half of my paycheck. I didn't get anything for what was essential that I really needed because I cut my finger and I had to pay it off that sense.
Yeah.
6 months later, I did it again, but I cut my middle finger off.
Damn.
I cut it in a sense where it's like the same exact way, almost the same deepness and everything, but I was like, fuck this. I know
no workman's comp. Did that happen at work?
Yeah, but if I did go to the workman's comp, then they're going to be like, hey, what are you doing on your job? I think we need to drug test you. And I'm just like, fuck, I need to stop hitting the pen.
That's horrible. So cannabis is a no-go?
At my job, yeah.
See, and I feel like that's unconstitutional.
Yeah, well, right. Like that. But see, that's the difference between...
This is where if we had a cooperative, the empire that strikes back, we wouldn't get pushed around so much.
You would. What are you going to do if you have state, federal, and cooperative law going on? You can't contradict all 3 of them.
No, man.
That's the biggest problem right now.
This is what they did in China. Right? What we're supposed to have is a 3-party thing.
They're not going to... Okay.
Executive, judicial,
I love that you said that because I'm going to do a bunch of research tonight. But I don't feel that party is even as influential as what you're saying. Like, I don't feel like they have that much political pull. And if they are, they're just like this underground.
How do we know what's happening across the world?
I'll find out. I will.
Like if it's not on the news, people don't seem to talk about it.
But that's the beautiful thing about the internet is like you don't have to just go to the basic outlets of CNN, Fox News.
Exactly.
There's so much.
But
different
it's
places
made
to find.
so hard. That's what I'm saying. We need to pull together our own, where we like pull together the real talk.
And see, that's another thing too. Is like, what if it's something that China has created to make them seem like they're actually more neutral than we think? So it's like, oh, look, there is actually hardship in China. Blah blah blah. Propaganda at another level. And that's
no matter what. Let's get back to we're who we are, where we are with what we have, and we're all literally like tied in one shape or form to a system together. So we just have to do things smarter and stop the letting our like tyrants push us, into things that aren't serving us, because they're not doing things smart here. And we're not rehabilitating people, and we're not helping people heal. So it's just a time to say, what are we doing? And let's just do that. Well, let's not even care about what other people are doing. Let's just do us for a damn second.
I feel really fucked up for people that actually got incarcerated for like basic marijuana.
I know.
But okay, here's the shitty part about it. Now they're getting pardoned, right? So they're able to actually get out for it and stuff. But how much trauma and how much backlash is that really caused that person? Like they're going to go into society, 5 years later? That's like horrible. That's almost like the fucking Thanos snap. Like, it's different. Life is totally changed.
Institutionalized. We have a lot of people institutionalized because, like I said, 49th in the nation. Being the most incarcerating in the nation.
But like you
because
said,
you take away people's education, you underfund that, you traumatize them, and then you get them liquored up and all drugged up. Hello, they're gonna fight. It's gonna make violence.
Unfortunately, it's a vicious cycle of capitalism.
It is. But we don't have to let it be so. Because that is a thing, but there can be a solution. There has to be. And the time is now.
It's hard to think of it, though. Well,
it doesn't matter. I'm not saying this is easy, but what's cool? So the Wright brothers, right? I saw this video. Jacques Fresco, he actually studied a lot of solutions to things like this. So there was this video that I watched from his kind of stuff, and basically they did this animated thing where there were these two people in a field, and they were like, "Yo, you hear them Wright brothers? They talk about they can fly. Oh God, they're crazier than I'll get out." And then boom, the Wright brothers fly over their damn head. And all of a sudden they're like, "Well, I'll be." That's a moment they can't unsee, So it is actions, it is solutions, it is the real shit that matters. It's not talk anymore, And when you show people real stuff, real support, real this, real that, you're going to have a paradigm shift naturally. There's just... And when poverty is almost eradicated because abundance is spread, all of a sudden, crime goes down because people don't even have a reason to steal as a necessity to live.
Yeah, well, I've heard that statistic so many times where there's enough resources on this earth for not only everybody to be housed, but to be fed almost 20 times fold.
Yes.
But it's just
It's intentionally done to stifle our collective growth.
Well, this is how shitty this is, though, too, is like, look at how... different cultures of poverty is.
I know.
Like in South Africa, all that stuff, those people are like malnourished, they're dying of food. They don't have any food. But in America, people are dying because of food. In poverty sense. That blows me away in itself, because we obviously do have enough resources that we can kill Americans with food.
Exactly.
But yet not give enough resource to give people that need food.
It's intentional.
It's scary.
But it's not.
Yes, it is.
Why? Because if you just think, you know what, we're more powerful than that together. When the collective does come together, then we can inherit the earth.
Well, I'm just waiting for the aliens to help. They need help.
What if you are the alien, and what if I am the alien? What if we're like tuned in?
We're not the aliens. Have you seen an octopus?
I'm a redhead. I'm a 1%er. Come on. Blue eyes, red hair, alien.
According to the statistics of South Park, you don't even have a soul.
I know. For real, you shouldn't listen to me.
You're genderless.
You shouldn't listen to anything I say.
But in that sense, though, Like, I mean, I don't know. I can't really complain about the situation at hand because I have a decent life. Again, from where I came from.
So far until the shit comes up your toilet.
Very true. Very true. Very true. But I know how to live with that. Just kidding. I don't.
Yeah.
But
shitty shit.
Who wouldn't? I'm still kind of skeptical of that actually happening. Like,
it'd be cool. It's okay.
Is it going to be like literally like, and then like floods the earth of like manure?
You'll just have to see what's happening. Huh?
Jesus, I want to see one of those premonitions in your head so bad.
Well, I literally, like, you could go to my Facebook where I was like, guys, it's gonna flood, and then I could show you where I even got a conversation with my friends, guys, it's gonna flood, and then literally 3 days before this storm, guys, this is the storm that I like had this little like whatever you want to say, a download from the universe. I don't know, a knowing all of a sudden, like basically I went to higher ground.
So
okay,
you think
I watched the storm from Colorado, higher elevation, and all 77 counties were in a state of emergency where it was record for all counties of the state of Oklahoma. 3 days before this storm, I said, guys, this is it. I can show you the conversation, you know?
No, you're cool. I get it. I don't not believe you, but this is the same aspect of The Simpsons predicting the future as well.
Yeah. But see, if you tap into what I would call the Akashic record, you know, like there is a source of knowing like Tesla or Da Vinci or like these people were like tuned into, and those people, that was a renaissance. That was a time of a golden age shift too. So we're just in that time, and I feel like we're banding together people that are going to go kind of transform from like 9 to 5 everyday people to like these bigger roles that they're meant to play in this shifting, you know, that are kind of maybe predestined if you want to go down to it potentially. But that's what I see about like the comedy group. I see such awesome stars in there that all stem from the heart. So when you come from that place, it's like a Mother Teresa, Gandhi, like that kind of a thing, no matter what, you know, and it is quantum. Yeah. Spread the light. That's all there is.
Because, I mean, I've even had that aspect, too, is like everyone always tells me, like, you try so hard and you might do it, you might not. But the aspect of if I do or don't isn't what motivates me. It's the in-between, having fun doing it.
There you go.
And that's kind of weird to think about, too, because, like, everyone thinks of the big picture at the end. Like, hey, Angel, you really think you might actually be a big podcaster? You might actually get somewhere with it? And I'm just like, I don't know, but I had a good conversation with my guest today. That's all I really cared about at that point. But in that sense, too, it's like if you think of a broader spectrum in the future as well, too, that kind of leads you in a sense of like, fuck, you're preparing for something that you technically don't know is exactly going to happen in your sense. And this is the beautiful thing about comic book allure and like whatever. In Avengers Endgame, fucking Doctor Strange sees every possibility of the scenario that can happen, but only one is the right one. So how many times could those scenarios have gone down that different path?
Right.
And that's the aspect of what people do now and how they perceive themselves in the future.
There's just no reason not to do the solutions that I'm talking about, and that's really where it comes down. We just haven't been doing it. We've been doing our own shit in this little colony of ants going against everybody to compete in a monetary system. So, like, it's just a matter of doing the things.
So do you think something
makes sense?
Do you think something like cryptocurrency is probably going to make it worse? Do you know a little bit about cryptocurrency?
I believe that that's at least transparent and there's a ledger, and that's what I want to like get back to is an open transparency.
That's something that pretty much anybody can have, that can get.
If you're hiding something, that's not cool, you know? Be in the light.
Yeah.
Like, and what's interesting, I've taken I had a police officer and he said, Emily, your best weapon is going to be your camera. And I took that very seriously in all my travels and all that stuff. I've interacted with like some interesting scenarios, and it's even come down to the law and stuff like that. Some of my videos have put people in jail for like 6 months because when I sense that some crazy stuff's going to go down, I just start filming. And it's like, here is reality, you know, truth is truth. And that's it. You know, you want to gaslight yourself or skew it or, you know, have your perspective taken anywhere else. That's on you, you know, but that doesn't serve you and that doesn't serve the whole. So it does come down to a metaphysical discipline though, you know, and
very metaphysical because yeah, again, unfortunately, all the aspects of a cop, we get the bad aspects of it.
Right.
Why is there nobody filming all the good deeds that they do? I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of them that do. I mean,
Yeah.
it cannot be so negative in the aspect that they all want to hurt and harm people. And you understand it more when you start to see like, oh, well, maybe it's because of the proper training that they have, or the lack of training they have, or maybe the fact of the upbringing of they have. Like, cops should not be people that were bullied in high school. Those shouldn't be cops.
It's a matter of accountability, though. It's just checks and balances, and literally, it's so if you want to get it down to the chakras, the throat chakra.
What color is that?
Blue.
Okay. I'm just asking. I'm not gonna make
Like,
fun of it yet.
Yeah, but we have to, like, if you go Game of Thrones, have you seen that?
No.
Oh, dang.
I want to, but
or like Spartacus, like it's like a slave uprising. Like, literally, people, what stops a bully or a serial killer is people saying, I'm seeing a pattern here of, we gotta, like, stop this threat to our community. So power in numbers. If the power in numbers are even looking at the whole and saying, let's benefit the whole, oh my goodness, come on. But yeah, it does. It starts small, dude. I'm not saying that this is going to go where I'm saying it's going to go overnight.
Yeah,
and it's not that at all.
She's ready to march in the streets, guys.
It's not like that. And I'm not going against the power structure that already is either. I'm just doing something that works.
Maybe just again.
Over here, I'm not going against. I'm going for what I know needs to happen rather than go against the oppressors. I'm done with that.
Because I know there was this one quote where it was just like, the perfect government is a government that actually takes from all other governments. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you are a fascist but still have dictator and communist and democracy and all of these senses into one, the underlying of what's good and bad of it. But yet it's, again, separated in a way where it's just like, my system is better than yours. And we'll never get to that point of unity at that point, because maybe surveilling everybody is bad. But then again, everybody kind of wants to be surveilled in themselves because they have this kind of device on them all the time. So where's the underlying notes and all this stuff?
I'm not a savior. I'm not saving anybody. I feel like everybody is individually saving themselves.
We all want to walk that 8 mile.
And I'm just spreading what I can when I can,
That's good. That's honest. That's truthful. That's being a genuine person. And I think that's, again, the stepping stone to being a unified and a collective individual.
I'm not afraid to look batshit crazy to do it either,
She's like, I'll totally go.
Certified.
I'll totally fuck it. I'll totally fight a cop.
Been there, done that.
Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. I've never had a bad encounter with a cop yet, but I have been to jail. I went and I spent 72 hours. They actually like checked up my butt and made me feel violated.
Ouch.
I was in a holding cell for like 48 hours with just one other person. His name was Casey.
Oh,
and
God.
Jesus, this guy wanted to start the biggest drug ring ever from prison. I'm just like, dude, I'm here because I fucking skipped out on a warrant that I thought I paid that I didn't. Yeah, when I was in high school, my grandpa has a really badass 2007 Dodge Charger. So when I was younger, he would let me drive it, go visit my girlfriend and stuff. But I got pulled over one time and I didn't tell him, so I paid the ticket and everything, but I guess it never reached the actual courthouse or whatever. So almost for like 4 years I had a warrant for my arrest and I didn't even know it.
Wild.
4 years. I never got caught. I never got in trouble, never did anything. But when I did get caught, they were just like, oh, we'll let you go. And then the cop comes back and he's just like, actually, we can't let you go. You have a warrant for your arrest. And I'm just like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, this ticket you didn't pay 4 years ago. It's like,
so you definitely encountered an unnecessary trauma.
Yeah, that sucks.
And yeah, that's horrible.
I'm so scared of jail now. Because then after the whole holding cell with the other guy, so I was in that holding cell, which is kind of like solitary. Well, because we didn't get to leave that room at all. They fucking throw the tray under the door and everything. After 48 hours, they're like, okay, Angel, you're about to go to general population. And that's kind of like where it's like almost like a giant room with multiple bunk beds and stuff. And everybody kind of stays in the same room and stuff. And that was horrible because I was so scared. And at that time, I had pink hair because I was all flamboyant.
Oh,
And I was just like, oh man, I'm gonna get raped so bad.
Yeah.
So there was this one guy there that was actually really cool, bald cholo with like a little cholo mustache. And the first thing he told me is like, it's not as scary as you think. And I was like,
do you see how he paradigm shifted you right there?
Because he looked like a badass.
He planted a seed that you needed.
I was fucking,
because you were gonna manifest some nasty shit.
Yeah, I was still scared. I still, don't get me wrong.
Right.
Just because he said that didn't give me some, but it did give me some kind of notion that like
shifted you a little bit.
It could be worse. Like I could, the first guy that could have
because all you see is movies and all that. You don't wanna.
The first guy that could have talked to me could have been like, "What pussy?" Or it could have been way worse. But this guy, all he said was like, "It's not as bad as you think."
Dang, that's cool.
And then the first thing I start doing is I start doing push-ups like a beast.
That's smart.
No, it's not. It was horrible.
Why?
Because I thought I was like overcommitting to the role already. I was like, I guess I'm gonna be here for way too long. So it wasn't even like 2 hours that I was in general population that they called me to the front. They're like, Angel, you come to the front, and then they're like, you've been bailed out. And I was like, oh fuck yeah, thank God. And it was my mom. I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared, blah blah. But then again, my mom, she kind of liked to drink and stuff, so she was kind of already on another level and stuff. And I was very appreciative that the fact that she got me out and stuff, and she did all that. But it just makes me sad knowing that like she was a little drunk and it could have gone worse for her. Like the scenarios of what could have happened that night would have been way worse, and it didn't happen. But for God's sakes, I'm here. Everything's good and all.
Yeah.
It's some crazy shit. There's a lot about me that kind of gotten shitty too. I've been robbed before at gunpoint.
Wow.
It's so shitty. They stole all my guitars.
No.
Yeah. It's a hard life being a gangster.
Yeah.
But I think that's what brings more of my humbleness and being a good person out. Because, I mean, I see that experiencing that was the worst of society. That's like, fuck, man, they fucking broke into my house. They had me on the floor. They tied me up with the fucking... Are
you kidding me?
Yeah, they tied me up with fucking a fucking USB cord and everything. Like,
wow.
It was horrible.
It was even like a forced invasion into your place.
Yeah.
That is a trauma.
Because I actually just got home. I just got home and I actually opened the door to my car. And then where I was living, there was like this, like, it wasn't like a blind spot, but there was this one guy at the edge of the house. And right when I got onto the door, I was going to my back door to open the door, and he kind of rushed me with a gun. And
no.
Yeah, my friend was with me. He made him get on the floor as well. It was pretty traumatized. I was on the news. It's so horrible. I have more stage time than any comedian ever.
Wow.
It's kind of shitty. But again,
when did that happen?
Maybe like last year.
Oh, maybe like not even long ago?
It was like December.
Not even a year ago?
The end of December. It was the end of December. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you. That's an invasive and traumatizing. I mean, everything about that.
But I can't be so... Like, I can't hate the world. I can't be that person where I'm always thinking, like, this next person that I meet is going to rob me.
And that's what I'm saying about healing, and showing empathy. And it's not that we're ever going to understand someone else's,
scenario idea.
But it's about trying. It's about expressing, hey, I care. I care that happened to you. And I want to know,
Yeah. Or in that sense, too, it's like, man, whatever you were going through that you had to do that, man, I hope that it's better. Because if it's not, then that sucks. Maybe it benefited you. Maybe it didn't. I have no idea. But just the fact that I'm still here and maybe you're not is...
You never know. But it is a balance to the world.
You have to kind of see it in that sense, too. Yeah. I can't be so negative because of it.
Well, seeing how that viewpoint raises your vibe. Just the way you view something changes because you're no longer shackled to the fear mode of it.
Yeah.
You're looking at it with compassionate eyes, and that's an ascension, that's transcending that trauma.
But some people say that as like, naiveness and not being prepared for the next scenario, the next situation that could be worse.
If you tune in, if that's the vibe you put out, like always focus there, you're going to get what you put out.
I like that. I've always believed that too.
That's metaphysics.
I've always told people that too. I was like, if you think negative things will come to you.
Yes.
And positive things
we are all
happen
co-creating our realities.
I can see that in a sense, especially with the way like like even atoms and particles work. Like,
Yeah.
dude, there's so many negative and positive charge that are happening right now. It all depends on how you think of them and what's going to happen in the next sense of it.
Exactly. Well, so okay, we've talked for like a very long time. Do you have any questions for me or anything to wrap this up?
You have you're interesting person. I don't know why you wore camo today.
I actually wore Bob Marley.
You got that hippie vibe. I'm cool with that. Ginger, that's awesome. No, I mean, this is just a literal just conversation. I just wanted you to have come over and just talk. Like I said, nobody does this anymore. I don't know anything about anybody, but
it's good practice no matter what.
This is my ascension into being hopefully a better interviewer.
Yeah.
Just being able to talk to people.
It's a catalyst too. Like we're supposed to be doing this, you know, whether we have people knowing it and caring or not. That's another thing. But we actually do.
This is our ideas out in the ether.
And making it more, pulling it down into the reality, just even expressing it, you know, metaphysically.
Hell yeah. Well, with that being said, we've been here for 2 hours. Do you have any shout outs or anything you want people to find you at? Or do you want them to find that website for the charitable? Do you need a GoFundMe? Maybe somebody in my chat will be cool enough to make you one. I don't know. just spew out what you need. I mean, again, I'm very grateful that you came. Thank you for coming. I'll love to have you again. There's always something to talk about.
Thanks for having me too.
Like literally, our next conversation could literally just be about the aspect of why Star Wars is the best movie in the world. But that's for another day. But yeah, give any shout outs or anything you want people to
unite2thrive.com or it's the number 2. Thrive@gmail.com is an email address I've got. I've just kind of been in a whirlwind of crisis mode here and there myself, and I've only recently hit some stability. So I just am now even feeling just like the time is right to be a catalyst for solutions, you know, and just share stories, share my story, share, you know, however which way I can be of service. And I do meditate and I do pray and I ask, you know, for guidance. And I do believe, like we were talking about, that you focus on what you want, you ask, and you receive, you know.
Just in a sense that you actually have to do it as well.
Yes.
Because if you believe that if you just put it on a fucking piece of paper, it's going to come to you.
Right.
Without any hard work.
Right.
It'll never come to you.
Yeah, but I will tell you, like, I was watching these videos on YouTube about metaphysics constantly. And then
as long as it's not The Secret.
Yeah, I go to my friend and I say, hey, I want to scrap your car. You got too much cars and I want to pull my truck in. This was back in the day. So he says, well, maybe, you know, you never know. And the next day, knock, 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 this teenage guy and his grandpa wanted to tow the car to the scrapyard. You know what I mean? You can't negate that.
Yeah, that's more of a sense, though, that, like, I don't feel coincidences. In a sense.
But the definition of coincidence is fitting together.
But that's like in the sense of you always, like, your screensaver is a Lamborghini. You have Lamborghini pictures all over your house, but one day it's going to come to you without the hard work, without the actual.
I'm not saying that.
No,
at all.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm getting
completely.
from. Yeah, but those little things were
but
like,
it's interesting.
Yeah, how it happened.
And I've got so many stories like that now.
See, there you go. That's another podcast in itself.
Oh my goodness.
You guys are awesome. Remember to tune in. MuseMe TV. Dude, all you guys got to do is just Google it. MuseMe TV. Google it. I swear to God, I'll be the first thing that pops up. We'll have another episode here soon. Make sure to check me out. All things funny. Got some shows coming up. We'll also be doing some open mics around town. Check it out. Six On will be on here soon. So will Sam, Mulkey, all those guys. You guys be good. Jeremy, miss you. We'll see you soon. Make sure to check us out. Have a good one.
Bye.
That's it. There's nothing really else going on.